We do know they were shot in the back. They were not armed. How does this happen?
After 2 people were shot by a Ute tribal officer, family members and investigators are trying to figure out what escalated to the point where shots were fired.
A woman trapped inside this burning home in Cottonwood Heights. How firefighters saved her from what they describe as unsurvivable conditions.
Tracking severe storms, areas of flash flooding and dangerous heat. How long will this hot pattern last? I'll have an outlook through the end of July.
I genuinely thought like I was not going to be okay.
A woman hit by a boat while paddleboarding. A family of 4 nearly drowning.
And I just realized like he couldn't swim either.
All happening in one weekend.
Things do get a little bit rowdy out here.
What people say has changed at one popular Utah reservoir that's putting lives at risk.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
A man and woman are recovering after being shot by a Ute Indian tribe fish and wildlife officer in Duchesne County yesterday afternoon.
It took place near Uinta Canyon, just north of town of Neola on tribal land. Fox 13 News anchor Brian Schnee spoke to a family member of the woman who was shot. And tonight, that family is trying to figure out how something like this could happen.
Paige Stewart said her cousin Chelsea, a single mother of 2 children, was out riding on a UTV Sunday afternoon with a man, and the two were on their first date.
She just said it was crazy. She still can't believe something like this would happen to her.
The two were riding near Uinta Canyon in Duchesne County. It's an area that has mixed land ownership. Some of it's county land, some is Ashley National Forest land, and some is Ute tribal land. The two were stopped by a Ute tribe fish and wildlife officer while riding on tribal lands.
They weren't out doing anything to harm anybody. They were out having fun on the first date. So it's scary that it happened, and it's sad, because Chelsea is a very kind, sweet person, and she'd never do anything to deserve anything like this.
According to the Duchesne County Sheriff's Office, the two were shot by the officer, but it's unclear what events led up to the shots being fired in the first place.
We do know they were shot in the back. They were not armed.
The FBI is investigating the shooting and shared limited information on Monday, but did mention the officer who was involved was not injured, and the two that were shot were flown to hospitals in Colorado. Paige talked to her cousin on Monday while she was hospitalized.
What did she tell you about all of this?
She just said they were shot in the back, and she didn't realize she was shot for a little bit.
Paige said her cousin recalls 6 shots being fired from the officer, with the first bullet going right past her head.
Neither of them were armed. They didn't pose a threat to her. So Chelsea also is confused how something turned into this.
Chelsea's family is trying to wrap their head around how things could have possibly escalated to the point where shots were fired in the first place.
I feel like we're angry. The whole family's angry that it's happened. You know, we wonder, what if that bullet would have went a little further and killed Chelsea?
The family believes they were riding on tribal lands without even knowing it. They're really hoping that the FBI's investigation can shed some light on what took place here in hopes of maybe preventing something like this from happening to another family. In Duchesne County, Brian Schnee, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Fox 13 News reached out to the Bureau of Indian Affairs for more information. They referred us to the FBI. At last check, the 2 shooting victims were still in critical condition.
It was a tense and scary situation today in Cottonwood Heights as firefighters rescued a woman trapped inside a burning home. This happened around 3:45 this afternoon, right near Little Cottonwood Road and Wasatch Boulevard. Around 40 firefighters from various agencies teamed up to put this blaze out. Firefighters got word of a person trapped inside that home. However, they were met with what they say were, quote, unsurvivable conditions.
As we knocked down more of the fire, we were able to actually rescue the patient and bring the patient out.
The woman was sent to the hospital with minor injuries. The cause of the fire is still under investigation tonight.
State lawmakers are being put on notice about suspicious packages following a scare last week. A member of the House of Representatives received a letter with a powdery substance in it. The substance turned out to not be dangerous, but The State House and Senate are both warning lawmakers to be careful with their mail and report anything suspicious to the Department of Public Safety.
Scary moments in a high-speed chase across multiple counties in southern Utah today. Deputies in Garfield County say the suspect, 34-year-old Curtis Heisler from Phoenix, Arizona, ran a stop sign in Panguitch. He then forced his way past officers. He got onto Highway 89, driving into Kane County, reaching 110 miles per hour. The suspect swerved to miss spike strips and crashed into a deputy's empty patrol vehicle. Take a look at it now. He was taken to the hospital, or rather the Garfield County Jail, on numerous charges after going to the hospital. Well, if you plan on heading out to the water to stay cool, make sure you're being smart for the sake of your safety as well as others.
A few Utahns had to go to the hospital after visiting Pine View Reservoir this weekend. Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser has their pleas to the public to pay attention.
Hot summer temperatures drew large crowds to the water this weekend, where visitors tried to cool off as safely as they could. But hot weather and lots of people brings a risk.
I'm just a little traumatized, a lot of traumatized, to be honest.
This is Paige, an Ogden woman who was at Pineview Reservoir Saturday. She wishes to keep her face hidden as she's still recovering after being hit by a boat while paddleboarding.
I honestly just thought I was going to die and drown with my dog, so I was pretty scared.
It's actually really hard.
She says she and her sister were floating near Windsurfer Beach in the no-wake zone.
I spoke to a corporal with the Weber County Sheriff's Department who says in his 4 years of patrolling the Pineview Reservoir, this is actually the first time that he could remember something like this happening.
Paige has a concussion and bruises on her legs. The Weber County Sheriff's Department says as of now, the boat that hit her is not facing any charges or citations.
I just was throwing up so much water that I genuinely thought like I was not going to be okay. We followed the rules. We were doing everything we were supposed to be doing.
Lake goers say they've noticed a change in safety at Pineview.
We don't come over here that often just because things do get a little bit rowdy out here.
On Sunday, a Salt Lake City couple also found themselves in a scary position near Anderson Cove.
Pretty scary, pretty challenging.
Anna and Bo Bennett had to jump in and save 2 kids and 2 adults.
And so I sprinted out into the water and I started swimming over to him, and I just realized like he couldn't swim either. So I grabbed onto him and I grabbed onto the kid, so I had both of them in my hand at the same time.
Anna is a nursing school student and was able to assist until police arrived.
It was like, check her pulse. Is she breathing? Is she conscious? Is she too hot?
Medics took one man to the hospital to be treated for exhaustion and water intake. The Bennetts are asking anyone who plans on visiting the reservoirs this week to stay hydrated, be prepared, and avoid putting yourself and others in dangerous situations.
If you're going to be on the water, you need to have a life vest. And if you can't swim and someone's, swept away, you need to have someone else do it.
Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, you got to be careful out there on the water.
I know a lot of people want to spend some time out on the water, Allison, trying to escape this heat, although more rain tonight.
Yes, and I'll tell you what, Utah Lake would not have been a good place to be tonight. We had a severe warned thunderstorm that moved through Utah Lake, Utah County, and portions of the Salt Lake Valley. Right now, that system has made its way up into the Uintas, so we are tracking some heavy rainfall still along the Wasatch back up through the Uintas, and still a little bit of lightning leading that storm. It's still gusty right now. We've got some gusty outflow winds. Now all the way up towards Ogden, you're seeing wind gusts around 40 to 50 miles per hour like we saw here along the Wasatch Front in the last hour or so. Into central Utah, some isolated areas of some light showers down towards I-70 and I-15, but for the most part a fairly dry evening across southern Utah. Temperatures as you wake up tomorrow morning dropping to about 70 to 80 for Provo, Salt Lake, and Ogden. Highs tomorrow again in the 90s, 90 to about 105 tomorrow here across the state with some more showers and thunderstorms. Come tomorrow, we still have that chance for some heavy rain, especially from northern Utah further south off into Arizona. Let's talk about how much you can expect with the storms the next few days, how long that pattern will last, and also we'll take a look at your temperatures through the end of July.
nobody can rest and everything like that until he's come forward, and we would all like to move forward.
A Utah family is pleading for justice as a man accused of killing his girlfriend is still at large. Their message to others dealing with domestic violence.
Think it's hot where you work? Try 250 degrees. We'll tell you how the pros cope.
And a birthday surprise for a boy who loves the badge. We talked to his mother all about it in a story that is positively Utah.
More progress has been made on the Wanship fire in Summit County. This just 24 hours after residents were given the all clear to go home. Crews say the fire started in a barn yesterday afternoon. The flames spread to other outbuildings and sheds and eventually to dry grass. We're told one house has minor exterior damage. High temperatures and strong winds challenged fire crews, but conditions have since calmed down.
It is very unfortunate that this historic barn did burn down, but we are grateful that no other homes were damaged severely by this fire, and that the firefighters were able to get a hold of it as fast as they were.
The Wanship fire is now 100% contained after burning about 40 acres.
Gary Carr appeared in court today for the very first time. He's the man who says his generator exploded, starting the Jacob City fire. But investigators found inconsistencies between his story and evidence at the scene. Carr was arrested for reckless burning and reckless endangerment. During today's hearing, he waived his right to hear the charges against him. The judge says Carr is eligible for a court-appointed attorney. He will be back in court in September. Even with record-breaking temperatures, the projects go on for people who work outside.
Fox 13 News reporter Brian Champagne found two of the hottest jobs in Utah and what you can learn from those who get it done no matter the temperature.
This crew from Top Job Asphalt moves like a well-oiled machine as they operate well-oiled machines. This is their busy time.
70 to 80 hours in a week.
The asphalt leaves the plant at 350 degrees and the paver at 280.
We did an airport a couple years ago where if it hit 250 degrees, we had to throw it away.
Things can be a little cooler for this residential driveway. Coming up on 11 o'clock, the air temperature thermometer says 108. The surface temperature, 213.
We're kind of accustomed to it, even though you never really get used to the heat.
They deal with it by keeping the water going around, and the health department agrees.
We want to try to avoid alcohol, caffeine, and fruit juices. Just because of the sugar content, we want to stick to water or sports drinks with electrolytes in it.
Eladio Flores covers up
every day
as he manages a roofing job. He says his crew is used to the heat.
No problem for the Mexican guys.
They take a break from noon to 4, and the health department agrees with the roofers, not this runner.
We want to just avoid exercising in the heat of the day.
The asphalt guys can't fit a break into their 12-hour days.
Take breaks, watch which guy's struggling the most, try to take the tool away from them.
And the health department agrees.
Looking out for each other, making sure you're hydrated, taking breaks with the hottest job definitely will help.
You can get more info on your health department's website or just watch your local pros. Brian Champagne, Fox 13 News, Utah.
I give it to those guys. My goodness.
My
they are
gosh.
doing everything right, hydrating, taking breaks, staying in the shade.
You know, on the other end of the spectrum, we should do a story on these guys who work in the ice houses that deliver the ice bags to the convenience stores. That would be a fit because they're wrapped up. It's 110 out there and they're all bundled up.
Coolest job that you can be doing right now?
Coolest job. That's what we should go
That
do.
would be a good idea. If you've got a cool job, email us. Let us know.
Show us some pictures.
Yes, definitely. Well, I think that anywhere that you can get some free air conditioning here the next few days, that'll be the place to be, like movie theaters. I hear that Elvis movie is really good. And we're going to keep tracking some very hot temperatures. But first, I'm sure many of you heard and saw and felt the storm that moved through about 2 hours ago along the Wasatch Front, brought a nice rainbow into Provo. Thank you to Kelly for posting this picture in our Facebook group, Utah's Weather Authority. A live look right now from the Natural History Museum facing south. So it's 82 here in Salt Lake. We cooled down quite a bit with that storm that moved through. 83 in Ogden right now, 75 in Provo. Here's what I'm currently watching for you. That storm that moved through, it mainly moved through as far as the precipitation. It was mainly the south end of the Salt Lake Valley in Utah County, and that is now up into the Uintas, passing through Heber. We still have a little thunderstorm over the Great Salt Lake right now. That one is not severe warned. But the reason that it got so gusty across the Salt Lake Valley and further north was because of our gusty outflow winds. They just kept spreading, and we saw some wind gusts around 50 to 55 miles per hour for much of the Wasatch Front. Over towards Tabiona right now, we do have that storm approaching that moved through the Salt Lake and Utah County areas earlier this evening. A few areas of very isolated light rain right now into central Utah and southern Utah, but nothing to write home about. We look across the state for tomorrow. We'll be tracking more thunderstorms, mainly from about Salt Lake City further south. So we'll be tracking tomorrow still the heat and still the chance for some thunderstorms. Overnight temperatures when you wake up tomorrow morning, Tuesday, 6 a.m., close to about 70 to 80 for Tooele, Salt Lake, Ogden, Eagle Mountain, Provo. So a comfortable start tomorrow. It'll be another hot day. Look at these temperatures. You're going to be around 90 to 95 for Eagle Mountain, Salt Lake, Ogden, Tooele, Provo. This will be tomorrow at 5 p.m. St. George, you're close to 105 to 110 for your entire 7-day forecast. And for Ogden, your chance for rain over the next week will be isolated for Tuesday night, Thursday night, Saturday. And for Provo, you've got a little bit of a better chance for some rain into tomorrow. Widely scattered storms for Tuesday night. Then it looks like you're quite a bit drier. And then by Sunday night. Now we're tracking these monsoon storms, and so you could very well have 99% of your day fantastic but hot weather, but then when those storms come through, they really pack a punch. For St. George, isolated storm chances Tuesday night, Sunday night, Monday, and Monday night next week. St. George, look how hot you are the next couple of days. You are around 105 to 110 for your entire 7-day forecast. Pioneer Day, Sunday, 102, but obviously Saturday is going to be the day observed for that. So just prepare for very hot activities here across the region and state. For the Wasatch Front, we're near 100 degrees for your entire 7-day forecast. We'll get more in depth on how long this heat will last coming up in your Super 7-day forecast.
Allison, thanks so much. A race just too close to call. We'll show you where a recount is now underway in Utah to declare a state house seat that hangs within less than a dozen votes between the candidates.
And health officials have found another outbreak of avian flu in Utah. We'll show you where coming up.
I didn't know it would be quite this close. I figured it would be close.
An absolutely wild political race in southern Utah got a recount today. 7 votes. You heard that right. Just 7 votes separated 2 candidates for a state house seat representing Washington County.
Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow shows us the recount and when we'll see final results.
Washington County election workers conducted an audit of recount results in the hotly contested Republican primary race for House District 72. Just 7 votes separate frontrunner Joseph Elison.
I feel like it'll probably turn out just like it did before. I have no reason to believe it wouldn't.
And Willie Billings.
I'm down by 7 votes out of 8,500. That's well within the margins for a recount.
They're seeking the Republican nomination for the seat in the state house representing a big chunk of Washington County.
I have never seen a race this close.
With just 7 votes between the two, it drew a small crowd, with some raising concerns about election machines.
Welcome. Glad you've got interest in elections.
The county clerk auditor answered questions about the recount and audit process. The lieutenant governor's office sent the state elections director to watch over everything.
It's gone really good so far. Things are matching up the way that they should be.
Observers watched ballots be polled and counted.
They're literally pulling out the physical batches of ballots, and they're going one by one. They're looking at the physical ballot, reading off what the voter marked, and then on the computer screen, they're looking to see how the machine interpreted it. So they've got an image of the screen, and then they've also got how the machine counted that ballot.
It's a random sampling of about 3% of all ballots cast.
We're hoping that we're helping people to understand the process and become more comfortable and have confidence in it.
Billings wanted a hand recount.
So Washington County can be the beacon out there that says we hand counted this and it came out the same as the machines, and we can quell the fears and help people have more faith and confidence.
The rules were set at the beginning. We all knew that it was going to be a machine count. We knew it was going to be a mail-in ballot election. I don't have a problem with that in terms of, do I think that there's fraud on a county level here? No, I've never felt that at all. I've always had complete confidence in our system here in Washington County. Would I prefer that we go back to in-person voting? I think absolutely.
Across the state, county clerks have opened their doors to try to dispel election rumors and misinformation. Some offer tours of voting centers, and others are holding town halls to show people how they make sure every vote counts.
I would really hope that people understood that we work really hard. We want to have correct, accurate elections. We live here too. This matters to us.
The Washington County Commission will announce the results and certify the election at its meeting on Tuesday. Then the winner will face a Democratic candidate in November. Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
You know where he's at? Just help by bringing him in.
A family's desperate plea to find the man who police say killed a woman in Heber City.
We would all like to move forward.
Tonight, the search for justice and closure goes nationwide.
It's a simple sign with a strong message. How a Utah therapist is hoping these signs will have an impact on bringing awareness to suicide.
You have no idea what one tiny moment of kindness can do to somebody.
Midvale City is questioning their partnership with the Unified Police Department.
Just like every other part of our budget, cost controls are very important.
What they're asking for from the department and what the future might hold.
This summer could be the hottest since last summer. Okay, that goes without saying, but this summer might be hotter, and last summer was the hottest ever. We'll show you.
Welcome back, everyone. It started in the Utah town of Heber City. A mother found dead in her own home, her boyfriend named as a suspect and on the run. The search has now gone nationwide while the victim's family awaits for answers and plans her funeral.
Fox 13 News reporter Maithili Gubi spoke with the woman's family today as they search for closure and justice.
Grieving the loss of a loved one, making funeral arrangements, and hoping for closure. It's been a difficult week for the family of Julie Ann Burns after she was found dead in her home Thursday morning. Now the family is asking for the community's help to locate the main suspect and bring some peace to their family.
Bright and brave, very sarcastic, witty. She made you brave. If you weren't brave, she'd make you brave.
That's Melsine Pollock talking about her sister, the victim Julie Ann Burns. Pollock says she is thankful for the community's support during this difficult time and adds that she hopes the suspect, Burns' boyfriend Michael Grant Osman, is apprehended soon so their daughters can be safely returned with the rest of the family.
She loved those girls. Those girls were everything to her, and we just want to see them come home. They're perfect little images of her, and we would love to have them around and be able to see their faces every day to help that continue.
Court documents show that back in June, Osman was arrested on domestic violence charges after allegedly punching her and dragging Burns with the vehicle in front of the kids. Pollock says she wants others out there to report these incidents so no other family has to go through anything like this.
If you know somebody that's battling with domestic violence and those things, please come forward, make a phone call. There's always somebody out there that will listen. So we, as a family, we can't push that enough. Like, if you know somebody suffering with domestic violence, please go forward. Please talk. Nobody likes to see it get this far.
Pollock adds that the family is making funeral arrangements and wants to hold a celebration of Julie's life after her daughters come home safely. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Wasatch County Sheriff's Office or dial 911 and not to engage with Osman directly as he could be armed and dangerous. In Heber City, I'm Maithili Gubi, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The CDC says suicide is the 9th leading cause of death in Utah.
Fox 13 News reporter Chris Arnold spoke with a Utah therapist who's now using his very own front yard to try and prevent suicide.
Sean Patrick McPeak is a local therapist.
Yeah, it looks like I got 2 left.
Running his own practice called Kintu Spirit Works. For the past 2.5 years, his front yard has also served as a form of therapy for himself and others.
People struggle. I say all the time, like, everybody suffers, and no one's got to do it alone.
Every day when you drive or walk by his house in the Liberty Wells neighborhood, you'll see these two signs. One reads, "You matter."
It's been there, right? Like where you want to give up.
The other, "Don't give up."
It's the same sign with different sides. And so depending on which way you're going by, and then I thought both messages are important, right?
Suicide is something that has impacted McPeak firsthand.
I lost my fiance in 2019. It was tough, man. She was the best, and she struggled.
It's partially why McPeak says he's kept these signs up in his front yard long after his fiancée Ashley took her own life.
I never want anybody to feel what I've had to feel, like what her family had to feel.
McPeak says these signs, simple in nature, have been well received by others who live nearby.
Heard of the people that walk by, stop and comment something of "love your signs."
Just down the street from where McPeak lives, you'll see these two signs out in front of someone's house who also chose to have the message, "Don't give up and you matter," for everyone to see as they pass by. McPeak's hope, he says, is to not only bring awareness to suicide, but help prevent it as well.
If we can change that anywhere, in one person, in one relationship, in one neighborhood, worth it.
And hopefully make his fiancée proud in the process.
I'd like to think so, right? Like, she would be. She absolutely would be.
In Salt Lake, Chris Arnold, Fox 13 News, Utah.
If you're struggling with your mental health, remember the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is now an easier to remember 3-digit number. Just dial 988 at any time of day for free support.
We're learning more about the newly confirmed case of bird flu on a turkey farm in Sanpete County. For now, the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food says the outbreak is contained to a single farm.
And they have been monitoring very closely all the surrounding farms and other flocks in the area of domestic birds to make sure that they are not exhibiting any symptoms.
Symptoms of avian flu include nasal discharge, decreased appetite, and a lack of coordination. But the only way to contain the disease is to euthanize the entire flock. Officials are encouraging anyone who owns birds to check their flocks. The CDC says there is currently no public health concern.
The new president at Southern Utah University has made history, and they didn't have to look too far. After a nationwide search, the Utah Board of Higher Education named Cedar City native Mindy Benson to lead SUU. She is the first woman to become president of the university. She paid tribute to other women who were trailblazers at the school.
These women and so many others have made this possible for all of us here today.
Benson has been interim president since last year. Before that, she was at the university as vice president of alumni and community relations, and she taught at the school for more than a decade. Well, Fox 13 News is getting ready to celebrate 175 years of Utah's pioneer spirit with a Pioneer Day celebration that you won't want to miss.
This coming Sunday night at 9:30 on Pioneer Day, Fox 13 News will air a 30-minute special report taking a look at the rich history of our state's pioneers, as well as various examples of how that pioneer spirit is alive today. Good Day Utah anchor Dan Evans and I will be the hosts of this celebration, sponsored by Lee's Marketplace. Be sure to join us for that on Pioneer Day this Sunday night at 9:30.
Midvale is considering leaving its partnership with Unified Police. We'll explain why.
And coming up, tracking some thunderstorms tonight over the Great Salt Lake and now up into the UNS, what you can expect for the rest of the evening, and also how long our temperatures will stay near 100 degrees.
The city of Midvale is reconsidering its partnership with Unified Police to provide service and has voted against a proposed budget of more than $11 million.
Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph spoke with the city leaders today about why they're not happy with UPD service.
Right now, the Unified Police Department serves unincorporated areas of Salt Lake County, along with Copperton, Holiday, Kearns, Magna, Mill Creek, White City, and of course what we're talking about today, Midvale City. Today I spoke with a city manager who outlined some of why they're questioning this.
Since its formation in 2010, Unified Police have acted as the police department for many across the Salt Lake Valley, including the citizens of Midvale, who have been partners with the department since 2011. But now, because of some issues, they're exploring what they can do to make changes for the future.
46% of our general fund is our fee that we pay to UPD for law enforcement.
City Manager Matt Dahl broke down the numbers. In 2011, Midvale's UPD member fee was just over $5 million. The proposed new number would be $11.7 million, more than doubling in 12 years.
Clearly, law enforcement is a very important part of our community, but just like every other part of our budget, cost controls are very important.
They're very happy with the officers that serve their community. That's not the issue.
We have very dedicated officers. We also receive what are called shared services.
Things like human resources, forensics, and large investigations.
If we can do those collectively, we should be seeing cost savings. And while we also think that those are part of what help make this a good service, we also think that that's where we're struggling to achieve some of the cost controls.
A memo drafted lists 4 areas that the city wants to see changes in, asking first that the weight of each member's vote on all issues should be related to their population and financial contributions, modifying the fee formula that hasn't changed since the beginning of UPD, establishing policies based on fund balances, and local branding of Midvale officers and patrol cars. But this is preliminary so far. The City Council meets Tuesday to finalize these points.
So it could range from just sort of saying, you know, we were unhappy with the budget process, but we're going to just sort of continue as normal, to where maybe we provide more emphasis on those areas where we want to see reform.
And while they hope they can work it out,
we believe in the system and we're going to work on trying to find a way.
I asked the question, what would happen if they couldn't come to an agreement?
What it could mean if we run into problems making those reforms is something that we'll have to work out with the council in public meetings.
Midvale City has explored this in the past, but let's take a look at a timeline. Originally, Taylorsville left what was then the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office in 2005, with Cottonwood Heights leaving in 2008. UPD was officially formed from the Sheriff's Office in 2010. Now, Taylorsville was then again convinced to join in 2012. Then came the string of exoduses. Harriman leaving in 2008, Riverton in 2009, and Taylorsville, the most recent department to leave in 2020. Midvale has similar reasons than a lot of these departments to leave, and they will make that list very clear on Tuesday night's City Council meeting. In studio, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Oh, there they are.
Still ahead, it's a birthday present one Utah boy will not soon forget. We'll hear from his mother about how this was all pulled off. It's a positively Utah story you don't want to miss.
I'm Andrea Urban, and despite the rumors, the Big 12 and the Pac-12 partnership has officially ended. Details in sports. Plus, Real Salt Lake is back in the win column, and they looked good doing it. Hear from the Claret and Cobalt coming up in sports.
Welcome back. Now on to a story that is positively Utah. A little boy in Roy received a special surprise gift for his 10th birthday.
You got to see this. Take a look.
Oh, there they are.
They're after you, buddy. His dream is to become a police officer when he grows up. So Roy police officers held a special parade complete with lights and sirens for him over the weekend. You can see the officers parading in front of his house. Crystal Nelson, the boy's mother, called the department, and the chief was able to put it all together. And of course, Nelson is so grateful.
It just shows the heart and the love that these police officers do, and that are willing to do something for not only somebody but for a kid, and to just put on something that if they want to become like them, they're willing to be that support and go out of their way to show them that they can do it.
Yeah, the officers had their own presents for little Reese, 10-year-old. Happy birthday, buddy. He also got a chance to meet some of the other officers and get his picture taken with them. He's a very lucky young man indeed. Happy birthday, Reese.
Happy birthday, Reese. Look, you got a cake and a gift basket.
Isn't that great?
Yep, that's a birthday to remember right there.
That's right.
Well, after a record-tying 107-degree Sunday, it may not surprise you to hear we are on track right now to have the hottest month ever recorded in Utah.
With that in mind, Fox 13 News anchor Max Roth took an in-depth look into the record books.
You don't have to go too far back to see the hottest summer on record. In fact, it was last year. It's possible this meteorological summer, which is June through August, is hotter, but we're not there yet. July 2021 was the hottest month on record in Utah, as measured by the highest average temperature. But so far, July 2022 is averaging substantially higher. This month has been a scorcher so far, but 2021 had a much hotter June. So our seasonal average is lower so far. 3 summers have experienced a record 21 days above 100 degrees. So far this year, we've had 12. And then there's a statistic that's all about your bank account and your air conditioner. The National Weather Service calls them cooling days. It's a way of figuring out how much you had to use your air conditioning to cool the house. Every degree over 65 is one cooling day. So July is usually expensive enough with an average of 500 cooling days. But in 2021, July set a record for 649 cooling days. Very expensive. And so far this year, we're on a similar track. Just over halfway through the month, and we're at 379 cooling days. One record 2021 did not set was the July with the most 100-degree days. In 1960, we had 15. Now, we might get there, but so far this July, we've had 10. In studio, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
All right, and it's officially official. Now we're at 11 today. We hit 101 here in Salt Lake City. A normal high this time of year is 95, just for some perspective. Above average again today. And take a look at your screen. Quite the sky tonight. Juliana posted this into our Facebook group. I think this is Utah Lake right here. And then we've got Timpanogos off in the background. Double rainbow, Mammatus clouds, really just an impressive view right there. We look across the entire state and we still have a few areas of showers and thunderstorms. Our earlier storm that moved through the Salt Lake Valley and Utah County now up into the Uintas. Still a little shower moving through Utah Lake right now, but nothing severe warned here across the state. Earlier today, we had a flash flood warning for Capitol Reef. That has since dried out, and what we're going to be watching for you tomorrow will be that chance again for some areas of flash flooding, some areas of heavy rainfall, and more hot temperatures. So hour by hour, Tuesday at 6 a.m., about 70 in Provo when you wake up, near 70 in Ogden when you wake up. Salt Lake, we're upper 70s tomorrow morning. Then tomorrow afternoon, we heat up again. We're back 90 to 105 here across the state with some areas of showers and thunderstorms, especially into central and southern Utah. So that excessive rain outlook for tomorrow is all the way across the state, except for up at Bear Lake. We'll be watching for you for the flash flood potential for tomorrow. It's possible for Arches, Bryce, Canyonlands, Capitol Reef, Grand Staircase, and the San Rafael Swell. Possible means some slot canyons, dry washes, and small streams may experience flash flooding. St. George, 105 to 110 for your entire 7-day forecast, so very hot temperatures continue. For Pioneer Day on Sunday, 102, but on Saturday, a lot of the observed stuff happening that day. Partly cloudy, 105. Here along the Wasatch Front, Tuesday, Wednesday, let's talk about our air quality the next few days. Orange, unhealthy for sensitive groups for Tuesday and Wednesday here along the Wasatch Front. Since this is our super 7-day forecast, we can go a little more in depth for you. Let's talk about the chance for some rain here the next couple of days. Our chance for rain here in Salt Lake isolated for Tuesday night, and then through the rest of your 7-day forecast, pretty low chances. Saturday, Sunday, we're going to have those temperatures in the upper 90s. Sunday, again, actual Pioneer Day, but it'll be observed on Saturday. We'll have those temperatures on both days near 80 when you wake up, and then you'll have those temperatures, or at least 80 degrees by 10 a.m. into the 90s after lunch. By next Monday, 98 here in Salt Lake City, and our temperatures through the 1st of August will stay above average, so we're going to keep you close to 100 degrees this whole week and next week.
Tomorrow night, right here on Fox 13, you can see the first University of Utah baseball player to ever play in a Major League Baseball All-Star game when Rockies first baseman C.J. Cron plays as a National League reserve in Los Angeles. Now, C.J. Cron is one of the Rockies' most consistent offensive performers. He was slowed by a back injury last season, but ignited in the second half to finish with 28 home runs and a career-high 281 batting average. Now, Colorado re-signed him this season, and he responded by hitting .295 with a team high of 21 home runs. And that game, again, is tomorrow right here on Fox 13. And talks about a partnership between the Big 12 and the Pac-12 have been discussed over the past 2 weeks. But tonight, breaking news out of ESPN that partnership has officially come to an end. Now, Big 12 sources said that the deal didn't work out for them for multiple reasons, which included the fact that the potential deal wouldn't have driven any revenue for the league. That is the Big 12, of course. Now, there's still so much more to come with these leagues, and we, of course, will keep you updated right here on Fox 13. And speaking of football, the preseason watch list for the 2022 Maxwell National Award was released today. 2 Utes and 1 Cougar made the list: Utah quarterback Cam Rising and running back Tavion Thomas, and then BYU quarterback Jaren Hall. The time is ticking to start the college football season, and all 3 of these athletes are ranked among the best. We can only expect the fun that is ahead. Now, RSL fell to Atlanta earlier this week, causing them to drop from 3rd to 5th in the West. But they're still playing competitively, and they got back in the win column last night in a rare Sunday night game in Sandy, shutting out Kansas City and scoring not once, but 3 times. Let's take a look. Now, a scoreless game in the first half. RSL on the attack early in the second. Andrew Brody sends it in, and Sergio Cordova heads it in for a goal to put RSL up 1-0. Then Sporting Kansas City down a man after a red card in Jefferson Savarino to Pablo Ruiz. RSL goes up 2-0. Just minutes later, Justin Miram with the cross, and Savarino rises up and heads it in for another RSL goal. A big win to pick up all 3 points to get back into 3rd place in the Western Conference.
I just spoke to the guys about in the last couple games. The one thing that we didn't lack was belief and a mentality. And when you eliminate mistakes, it inspires you. It's a contagion to the positive. And I thought the guys today might have played their most complete performance of the season, which is not easy to do after the last 4 results that haven't gone our way. So I couldn't be more proud of the guys to really believe, dig in, and put forth a great performance.
You'll love to see it. That'll do it for sports. We'll be right back.
Thanks so much for being here tonight.
QuickCast is up next.